which is great news because CD Baby is one of Pandora's official delivery partners. So what you have to do as a CD Baby artist is to opt in for delivery to Pandora. And when you opt in, that means that CD Baby will send your releases to us. And if those releases are accepted by Pandora, they are eligible to go live on all 3 of Pandora's tiers of service. To review that, because this has changed in the last couple of years, we have 3 tiers. The first tier, Pandora Radio. This is what you've been picturing Pandora as for the last, I think, 13 or so years. That's our free tier. Then we have a mid-level tier. It's a $4.99 a month tier called Pandora Plus. That's Pandora Radio plus some interactive features. So you have more skips, more replays, you have offline listening. And then we have our $9.99 a month tier, Pandora Premium, and that's our full on-demand. You can search and play songs, albums, playlists. It's the whole shebang, fully interactive. And as a CD Baby artist, when your music is accepted onto Pandora's platform, as long as we have all of our licensing worked out with you, you are eligible to be on all 3 tiers. The licensing situation is something that we're working really hard to streamline as much as possible for you guys. We're working with an organization called MRI, as well as Songtrust, to streamline the process for interactive rights granting. But that's something that our team is well-equipped to help you with, something that we can answer questions on later. We can all keep that in mind. And as we continue to work with CD Baby, we are prioritizing and improving the efficiency with which we are processing the deliveries that you guys send our way. So as a CD Baby partner, there is no additional delivery method necessary. I believe sometimes there's some confusion about that, so let's just dispel any rumors. If you are delivering your music to us through CD Baby, that's all you have to do. That being said, we do also have independent submissions. Indie subs is what we usually call them. Some of you may have done this before. You go to submit.pandora.com, you send us your files, the metadata for those files, and that's another entry point into Pandora. This is an alternative method for people who don't have a distribution partner. And if you do have a distribution partner like CD Baby, that is your best bet for getting your music addressed and analyzed and onto the platform, partially because of the way that our system works, but also partially because with CD Baby being one of our partners, they are granted rights and prioritization that totally independent artists don't. So always recommended to work with a distribution partner like CD Baby to ensure that your music is getting through the process as quickly and efficiently as possible. I mentioned a second ago that all of what I just talked about applies if your music is accepted to Pandora. As it has always been, Pandora has a curated catalog. That means that everything that's delivered to Pandora does not necessarily make it onto the platform. The way that this works is music is delivered, it's ingested into our system, and if it is a quality recording, and we have fully licensed interactive rights, as I was mentioning a moment ago, it's able to go live on the on-demand tier. But in order to go live on Pandora Radio, it needs to go through what's called musical analysis. Many of you have probably heard of Pandora's Music Genome Project before. There's some nodding happening. Pandora's Music Genome Project is fascinating. It's our algorithm and how we recommend music for individual listeners. It's a very in-depth analysis that's done by a human being who is a music expert. They sit down, they listen to the song, and they basically score on a rubric the different musical traits of a song. And this is a hands-on process, which is why sometimes the musical analysis step takes a little bit longer. But once the music has gone through analysis, it is eligible to go live on our radio product. So that's the way that our catalog works. That's why sometimes our deliveries take a little bit longer, and also why our recommendations are so much better. So talking about AMP and Next Big Sound. So AMP, Pandora's artist marketing platform, is a suite of free self-serve marketing tools to help artists promote their music and their careers both on and off Pandora. One of the really important things that I like to stress is that with AMP, we are not just trying to help you advance your career on Pandora. We're trying to help you advance your career. We're trying to give you tools that help you to sell more tickets to your shows, get more people listening to your music, get more people on your website, buying merch, just interacting with you in general as an artist. This is not an entirely self-serving mission of Pandora's to get more people onto Pandora. We really genuinely want to help the artist community. And we do that in a few ways, but in order to get started, you obviously have to get into AMP and claim your profile. So if you are an artist yourself or you are a manager representing artists, you go to amp.pandora.com/claim-artist, it's on the screen, and you fill out a form, give us some basic information about who you are, who you're representing, and claim your AMP profile that way. 1 second. Excellent. If you are a label, you actually just email amp-support@pandora.com, and we're able to set up a label-level account for you. The differences there are really that when you go to the form, when you go to the URL on the screen, you're claiming an individual artist, and if you're a label with a larger roster, you can email us and we can set up your account with access to your full roster directly so that you don't have to fill out the form 1,000 times. It's more efficient, it's easier to do, and if you are in the process of filling out the form and have any questions, you can also email us. We're very available, but if you are an individual artist, the form is going to be the quickest way to get you on AMP. Once you are into AMP, you have some options to customize your look on Pandora. Within the AMP page, there is a tab called the Profile tab. You can go to the Profile tab and upload a custom image. By default, the image that will pull will either be the artist image that you have through AllMusic, or it will just be your most recent album art if there is no photo on AllMusic. You can, of course, upload a custom photo, whatever you want it to be. Typically, people do press shots. We recommend that it is not album art, since we already have your album art. Upload a custom photo, save it, and once you save, it will go live as the default for all of your AMP campaigns, and also the default for all listener-facing properties on Pandora. So when someone's searching for you on the app or on web and your photo comes up, it will be the photo that you pull up here. In order to see your Pandora data, all of your streaming metrics and that sort of thing, you also have to hook up AMP with Next Big Sound. I didn't ask before who's familiar with AMP, but who's familiar with Next Big Sound? Okay, good. So a lot of you. That's fantastic. Next Big Sound, for those of you who don't know, was a standalone company from 2009 to 2015 that focused on music insights and analytics. Pandora acquired them in 2015, and we fully integrated Next Big Sound with Pandora data and with AMP so that now they are a fully integrated system. All the data talks to each other, and so when you're using AMP and you're interacting with Pandora, Next Big Sound is your destination to see how your music is performing, who your audience is, where your audience is, what they're listening to. It's just a wealth of information. So before you get started with your marketing campaigns, be sure to hook up Next Big Sound. You log into Next Big Sound, nextbigsound.com/signup if you don't have an account. Then you go to Settings, I drew a box around it, and then Sources, and then you click Connect next to Pandora, and you use your AMP login credentials to validate that connection between AMP, which we have already verified you, and Next Big Sound, so that when you log into Next Big Sound, you can see all of your private Pandora data. This is a very important step. I highly recommend we all do it. So now you're in, and you want to start promoting things. Let's start with promoting releases. For your new releases, there are a number of things that you can do, but one of our most popular tools is a tool called Artist Audio Messaging. Has anyone in the room done any Artist Audio Messaging? All right, a couple people. So Artist Audio Messaging is incredible. It's a very simple tool that allows an artist to record a short 15 to 20-second message that plays to their fans on Pandora right alongside your music. So you can hop on to your phone even. It does not need to be a studio recording. Hop onto your phone, record a message that's vaguely formatted with these 3 steps. First, you have to introduce yourself. Hi, I'm Heather Ellis. Deliver some information. I have a new song out. I wrote it with my sister about growing up in Virginia. Made that up right now. And then your call to action. So maybe you want to say, tap the screen right now to listen to it on demand. Or maybe you want to say, tap the screen right now to follow my Instagram to see more pictures of us in the studio. Or give it a thumbs up if you want. But make sure that you're asking your fans to do something. This is a great opportunity to engage your fans. One of the things that we think about a lot is that a fan, what they want most is to feel connected to the artist. And with these messages, it's an opportunity to have a one-to-one conversation with your fan. It's not like a radio liner where it's like, hey, Nashville. Like, you're talking to one person who's listening to your music right now, and you can deliver a more intimate message that way. You can make them feel closer to you, and these messages perform really well. Keep in mind that this is free. Now think about social, and think about how if you do a social media post and you want it to reach as many people as possible, you have to put some money behind it, and then you get like a okay click-through rate. These are free. They're reaching a highly targeted group of your fans, and our average click-through rate is 2%, 2.0%. So we're reaching a lot of people with minimum effort from you guys in the exact right context. It's when they're already listening to your music, they're already thinking about you, and now you're asking them to do something and giving them more information. It's a very powerful moment. So I have one for you to listen to. So that was a lovely message from Greg. And that was a very clear instance where we used the 3 parts of our message. He introduced himself, he explains the inspiration behind the song, and then he asked you to give the song a thumbs up because he was trying to boost his thumb ratio with that message. So very simple, very straightforward. We really encourage artists to show their personality through these messages. We've had a lot of really fun messages come out. Some of them are completely nonsensical because some artists are like, kind of kooky, and they go with that. And you really have the freedom to use these messages in a way that makes sense to you. We don't censor these messages in the way that you might think that we do. If you speak a certain way to your fans, if you speak a certain way in your music, we are, with obvious exceptions, we allow that freedom in these messages. We really want them to feel authentic and genuine. Also, didn't mention this at the beginning like I intended to, every example that I'm using, every screenshot, all the data, everything, these are all real CD Baby artists, all DIY musicians, so very exciting. Next, we have another tool called featured tracks. Has anybody done a featured track? Awesome, a couple more people, great. So featured tracks is what I think is the coolest tool that we offer because it is a very simple tool to accelerate the discovery and feedback that you get on new music. So what I mean by that is when you release new music on Pandora, you can choose one single at a time to go through an 8-week experiment. And during this experiment, we look at everything that we know about that song through our musical analysis, and then we look at everything that we know about listeners who might want to listen to your song. So their habits, the type of music that they listen to, the time of day that they like to listen to that kind of music, we get very, very detailed with it. And we play your song for the right fan at the moment when we are expecting them to be the most responsive to it. So the result here is that your song is played much, much more to people who are even more likely to like you in the long term. Obviously, the goal here is to boost a short-term listening number, but also to develop long-term fans, to expose you to people who haven't heard you yet, and give them the opportunity to follow you as an artist for the long term, get exposed to more of your music in the future, become a permanent fan. Feature tracks are very powerful for every artist on Pandora, but actually it is the more developing artist community that benefits the best. Artists who get less than 1,000 spins a day, on average, see about a 600% increase in spins during the 8-week featured track period, which obviously is very significant. You reach a lot more listeners, you find a lot more fans. And as you can see, I included some real results here. I want to draw your attention to the stat on the right. This is what we call a thumb ratio. So the response that people can give on Pandora to your music is either a thumbs up if they like it, or a thumbs down if they don't. And across all of Pandora, we typically see a thumb ratio in the mid-60s, which is good. We're playing your music to people who like it more often than we're playing your music to people who don't want to hear it. So you can see that number, total thumb ratio, down at the bottom. The bigger number, the featured thumb ratio, that's the thumbs up versus thumbs down only on the extra spins that we got you from the featured track. So that higher number means that using a featured track, you find people who are even more likely to like your music. The targeting is more precise. We're finding people at the right moment in time, and it's a very, very specific song promotion. So to really just sum up all of this, you should use your featured tracks. When you release a new album, for the first year, you have the ability to feature up to 6 tracks. Do that. You're getting more spins, you're finding more fans. Leaving featured track inventory on the table is just giving up those extra spins, those extra royalties, those extra fans. Be sure to use all 6 of your featured tracks. Thank you. So featured tracks, as I sort of alluded to, that's a radio product. We're placing the song on different stations in normal Pandora radio. But now that we have Pandora Premium, which is very exciting, you also have the opportunity to promote your tracks on Pandora Premium. And the way to do that, which is super exciting, is through Pandora, you can pull the link to a song. So you have that song link, and you can put it in an artist audio message, or you can put it in a post on social, or you can email it to someone or text it to someone, put it on your website. And when a fan clicks on that link, even if they are not a subscriber to Pandora, they don't give us any money. They are pulled into Pandora, and they get this first screen, which is this coach mark, that says, hey, do you want to listen to this song? If so, tap right here and watch a 15-second video ad. So then they watch 15 seconds of a video ad from one of our advertisers. Then it leads right into playing the song that they clicked on that they're trying to listen to. And then it unlocks a full session of Pandora Premium. It gives them access, it's usually about 30, 40 minutes of complete Pandora Premium. They can listen to your whole album, they can listen to a playlist, they can search for specific songs. They have complete access to the subscription Pandora product. This is something that no other service does. We are basically enabling artists to gift their fans a full subscription product without their fans having to give us their credit card information, without their fans having to start a trial. It is just a free session of Pandora Premium. Obviously, doing this in conjunction with featured tracks is the best way to get maximum exposure for your singles because you're allowing the fan to experience your music however they want to. You're not forcing them to go to your station and wait for your music to play, and you're also not forcing them into a trial on subscription. You're giving them the choice of how they want to experience your music. And in addition, you also have the ability to include an artist audio message on that single as well. So you can really wrap it all up where, like we just heard the example with Greg, you do an introductory artist audio message where you explain the thought behind your song or you tell a little bit of backstory. Maybe you attach that to your featured track. And then you can do another artist audio message that's pointing to the track on Pandora Premium. Or you promote on Pandora Premium via social. The idea here is just that you have a network of tools to drive traffic to your music on Pandora. You are not pigeonholed into just, putting the track at the top of your profile or pointing to it only via one method. We have a lot of different ways for you to do this. As I mentioned at the beginning, you can also promote your shows on Pandora. We have partnerships. Okay, sorry, the screen just flashed. We have partnerships with Songkick and with Ticketfly, which is now part of Eventbrite, that provide us with show data. So if you have your shows entered into Songkick or they're at Ticketfly venues, we are able to proactively prompt you to promote your shows and proactively promote your shows on your own. First things first, we'll talk on the left side of the screen with Promote Show. This is a tool that imports that data and then basically streamlines the process for creating an artist audio message that points to ticket sales for your show. So if you have a Songkick or Ticketfly show, you type in the name of the city or the venue in that search bar right up there, and when you click on the show that populates, it will autofill all of the specifics about your show, the date that you need the message to run, the geo-targeting for that show, and the click-through, the ticketing destination, so that all you have to do is upload the audio itself, and then you're off to the races. This is obviously extremely helpful if you're doing like a 30-date tour, and you don't want to go through the labor-intensive process of doing it over and over and over and over, and it just streamlines it for you. So it's much, much easier. In addition to that, something that is very excited, and I feel like we should yell about more, we have automated show promotional tools. Basically, if we have this information from you, from Songkick or from Ticketfly, you don't have to do anything, and we will promote your shows via in-app banners like this one that you're seeing here. They also show up on the Now Playing screen, so if you're playing a show in Nashville and a Nashville fan is listening to one of your songs, this banner will show up at the bottom that's like, hey, there's a show by this artist for you to go to. We do the same thing with the feed for a listener. In the Pandora app, a listener has their own notification feed, and your show promotions will show up there. And then we also can promote them using emails. And I say that we can promote them using emails because there are a couple of guardrails up. In order for a listener to receive an email about show promotion, there needs to be at least 2 shows coming up in their market by artists who they follow to get the email. So every single show of yours will not necessarily be sent via email, but it will be sent in-app banners and feed notifications. So these tools, as I mentioned, all free still, and the automated notifications, you don't have to do anything. They're just happening all the time. They're happening right now. So very exciting show promotion. Also available to you is a tool called Ampcast. And Ampcast, we released Ampcast in the spring of 2016, and it's basically just a mobile artist audio messaging tool. It lives within the normal Pandora app. So you just go to the App Store or the Google Play Store, download Pandora, log in with your AMP credentials, and you will see an option in your menu to use Ampcast. And the flow is basically what you see on the screen. You open it up to an artist profile, you click on the blue microphone, record your message. The only difference with the recording is that it's a hard stop at 15 seconds, whereas the desktop tool will sneakily let you upload up to 20 seconds. So if you're very talkative, desktop tool is your move. But you have 15 seconds to record your message using Ampcast, and then you have all the same customization options. You can set the flight dates for your message if you want it to run for a specific period of time. The maximum on the mobile tool here is a 2-week flight date. Only other difference with desktop is that it's a year flight date, so these are meant to be more spontaneous. But you can still geo-target them, you can still include a call to action, and then you post it right away, and it goes live in about 15 minutes or so once it's finished processing. And Ampcast is particularly good for in-the-moment, on-the-run kind of messaging. So you're in the van going between shows, and your show 3 days from now still has a few more tickets to sell. Do a quick message, geo-target it to the city where you're playing the show. Say, hey guys, I still have more tickets. I really want to see you. I'm so excited. Tap the screen now to buy some tickets. One of my favorite uses of Ampcast is also doing a post-show message. So Nashville, I had so much fun with you guys last night. I'm going to be back in a couple of months. I can't wait for it. Here's a photo of the show that I took from the stage. Share with your fans. Like I said before, what they want most is to feel close to the artists who they love. They want that connection. They want that personal feeling. So if you're talking to them and you're following up with the interaction that you just had with them, they're still on the high from the show, they're still feeling close to you, take advantage of that and get them to commit to coming to another show, or get them to follow you on social because they really enjoyed their time with you and they're not following you yet. Like really, really focus on your opportunities. Use the tools at your disposal and make those connections. This is how you translate somebody from being a one-time listener or a one-time attendee at a show into a long-term fan who's going to follow you for the rest of your career. So Next Big Sound, as I mentioned, is our analytics platform. And Next Big Sound, right now as we speak, is highly focused on creating what they call the knowledge level of information, which is where it's not just data, it's not just like, hey, you have a bunch of followers, but it's you have a bunch of followers and they're doing this and therefore you should do that. Like this is what we recommend how you act. So in an effort to work towards that, they have added a couple new features to the Next Big Sound artist profile. The first of those is this really cool new Pandora Audience section. These metrics that you see on the screen right now exist on every single Next Big Sound artist profile, and these are public metrics. So if I'm just a person in the world and I go to a Next Big Sound profile, I will see these numbers. The first one is your unique listeners for the last 28 days. So obviously unique listeners means everybody's only counted once, and those are people who came onto Pandora and heard your music one way or another. The second number is streams. And if you've been closely following Next Big Sound and Pandora data, streams is actually a new term for us. And it's the combination of radio spins and on-demand plays. So Pandora Premium Plus and Pandora Radio are all included in this number, and this is just the total number of times that your music played on Pandora in the last 28 days. We really want to be transparent with the numbers that we're showing you. We also want to make sure that we're giving you numbers that show a holistic view of how you're performing as an artist and also the trends that you're experiencing as an artist. To that end, we have another new section called the Weekly Performance section. And I think this is super cool. Basically what it does is Next Big Sound looks at who you are as an artist, how many people are following you, how many streams you're getting on an average monthly basis, and saying, based on what we know about you, this is how we expect you to perform on Pandora. This is how we expect people to interact with you on Facebook, on Twitter. And we set those expectations and then show you how you're trending against how we think you should be trending. So if you're getting, I think this example is 2 million radio spins. Yeah, if you're getting 2 million radio spins and 120,000 page likes and 18,000 total followers on Twitter, we expect you to be right in the middle of these meters. And what we're actually seeing here is how this particular artist is over or under indexing for that particular metric in that particular week. And it can be influenced by a number of different things. Maybe you're doing a social media campaign where you're driving a lot of traffic to your socials, and that's boosting your numbers. Maybe you haven't released new music in a while, so people are still discovering your music, but they're not finding it for the first time and thumbing it up as often. So you can really start to see how the marketing events that you put into play and your music release schedule affect how you're trending, how people are interacting with you. And it answers the question that we get asked most often, which is that good? You know? People always see their number, and we're like, oh yeah, you're having this many spins a week. And they're like, is that good? And it's a relative question, so we're giving you an answer relative to what we're expecting from an artist of your size. Another very fun new thing on Next Big Sound is the audience heat map. And what this is doing is showing you where in the United States people are going into Pandora and typing in your name. And then hitting play. That's what we call a station ad. Somebody going to Pandora, seeking you out, and starting your station for the first time. And the heat map is not only showing you how many people are doing that, but again, if it's over or underperforming, based on what we would expect. So the size of the circle is determining how many people are taking this action and starting your station, but how dark the color is indicates whether or not that number is what we're expecting. So if you look in like the Denver, Salt Lake City area, Pacific Northwest, these are really big, really dark circles, which means a lot of people are doing this, and we wouldn't necessarily expect them to. So you're obviously doing something that's resonating with the people in these areas that's making them go into Pandora and type your name and start your station. Whereas it looks like in Texas, a little bit in Florida kind of area, we are expecting more from you. So maybe you might want to do some targeted marketing and promotion to those people. Maybe you want to do an artist audio message and tell a story of a time that you played a show in Houston. Maybe you want to tour. I don't know what means you have, but if you have means, maybe you want to go play a show, introduce yourself to these people, find a local artist to work with. But these heat maps can really give you a lot of information about where you either currently have a presence or where you should invest more of your time, either because people are really responding or because they're not responding as much as you want them to, and you are looking for more of a commitment. So finally, last section really, we were a little bit late, so I kind of burned through some of this, but last section, how to work with the Pandora team. One of the things that we really try to do is be available to you guys. We have a number of different channels. First of all, you can chat with us. Within AMP, there's a little intercom chat bubble, and when you click on that, you can talk to a member of our team. Most of the time, it will be Tara on my team. You'll see her little face. Sometimes it will be my little face. Sometimes it will be a guy named Dan, who's on our AMP support team, but it's all real people. There are people who work in our offices who we talk to every day, and because of that, intercom chat is most reliable during West Coast business hours. I'm just going to be transparent about that so that you all know. We also have an email support, amp-support@pandora.com, which I mentioned a moment ago. AMP support is actually very, very fast, and it's also pretty quick on the weekends. So if you're doing some work, you need some help, and you're not seeing any faces in intercom when you click on the little chat bubble, amp-support@pandora.com is a very, very helpful resource. We have several people answering that email alias. I see it, the product team sees it. Really, really great way to do it. And then you can also meet with us. We do our best to have a good presence at a number of conferences throughout the year. We're always at South by, we're always at Music Biz, we're here right now. We also do a few webinars throughout the year, and sometimes we do little one-off experiences as well. But we do try to be very available to you. If you ever need help, please don't hesitate to reach out. And we also have a phenomenal website called ampplaybook.com. On the playbook, I can show it to you. On the playbook, did it go? It didn't go. All right, I can't show it to you. I'm sorry. But it's a really good website, I promise. On the website, we have videos, we have user guides, we have a lot of examples. One thing that people often ask for is example scripts for artist audio messaging. We have several scripts, starter ideas, ways for you to kind of get your feet wet. We also just have examples. You can play examples from other artists. We have lots of fun quotes. We even have one from Kevin from CD Baby. I don't know if he's in here, but we have a quote from him. And we are always updating the playbook as well. So if you ever have a question on how to use a tool, playbook is a good first bet. If that's not helping, please talk to us. So that's the end, really, and we can do Q&A. So if you have any questions, thank you. Excellent. Okay, I'm just going to go back and forth between the microphones. So if you want to start.
Sure. Hello. My name is Susan, and I have a question concerning independent submissions. Right now I have a licensing agreement with a smaller company, and you said about... Okay, I'm sorry. I'm looking at my notes. Making sure that you're fully licensed to... So can you just very briefly summarize that process if you're going through an independent company?
So basically, the situation that we run into most often is that there is an incomplete license for the interactive rights, so the ability for the song to play on Pandora Premium. Okay. And that, in a nutshell, it's a mechanical rights issue. You resolve it through MRI. And we have, I will not say the URL to you because that's pointless, but we have a link that you can follow that brings you to the appropriate MRI page where you can fill out the information to resolve those rights. There's not always an issue. There's just sometimes an issue. And when that's the case, we go through those steps with MRI. We are actively working right now to streamline that process. So very soon, it will be basically you click, we bring you through it. It's very simple. Right now, you have to go over to the MRI platform to walk through it. But in the event of a rights issue, our team is available and can walk you through that process.
Sounds great. Thank you.
No problem. And now over here.
Hi, Heather. I'm Paul Adams, and I love you guys because I'm approaching 100 million streams right now. So for the last 5 years, I've been able to make a living doing this. The question that I have, my girlfriend in Australia is a magnificent talent, and we've got, on the newest album that she did, we've gotten letters from Sting, we've gotten letters from Bill Champlin about how wonderful it is, and it was turned down by Pandora. And once something is turned down, you don't get another opportunity to resubmit. And I would encourage you to at least reconsider that, or at least think about offering us another shot.
That's definitely an opportunity to write in to the support team. Email amp-support@pandora.com. Was it sent through independent submissions? Do you know?
It was. It was before the CD Baby connection that you talked about.
It's an older record. Yeah, right into AMP support. We can see if we can find it in the system.
All right. Yeah. Thanks.
No problem.
Hey, Heather. Hey, Heather. It's Joseph from MTSU. So I got two quick questions. So the featured track, you know how you could do 6 tracks from an album within a year? can you do a single if you release a single on Pandora?
Of course, yes, yes. So with featured tracks, once the music is delivered, you have a year to feature, whether it's a single, an album, whatever.
Okay.
You have 6 featured tracks per artist per year. Use them how you will.
So if it's a single, you would have still just 2 months, though?
Yeah, it's still, and every time you feature a track, it's an 8-week period.
Okay, second question. So it relates to what the previous person asked. So I have 7 albums on radio, but on the premium level, it's like some songs work and some don't.
Yep.
And they're all signed up to CD Baby Pro, and Kevin says that those have been submitted to MRI, but they're still showing up. They're not showing up on premium. So is there anything else I need to do, or
we would have to look at the specific case. I don't know off the top of my head, but we'd have to look at the specific case. It may be a situation where there's still, especially if, I don't know if you've collaborated, but if there's a songwriter who hasn't opted in and they own a significant amount of the song, that can affect the rights. So it's a case-by-case issue. We would just have to look at those specific releases.
So should I just follow up with you?
Yeah,
Okay.
that'd be great.
Thanks.
Cool.
Hi. Okay, so this is kind of a tough question, and it's also following up the gentleman who was in front of me. I've submitted I'm through CD Baby Pro, submitted about 3 albums, and they've all been rejected. So my question is not so much on the subjective, because obviously you can't answer that, but is there objective criteria that needs to be met that maybe we're not meeting, that's getting it rejected before someone can even listen to it?
The first thing that I would look at is to make sure that the metadata is complete. There could be metadata issues that are affecting its ability to be properly ingested and properly processed. So that would be the first thing that I look into. Okay. After that, it always comes down to case by case again. So we would have to look at those specific releases, see at what point they hit the hitch. Because if it was right off the bat, probably a metadata issue. If it was after analysis, then we get to that point. So it's very case by case. But if you reach out to the team, we can look into it.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Hi, Heather. I'm Phoebe. I do business development for Flow Brands and for jazz musician Marcus Johnson. And we're doing pretty well on Pandora now. We have 55,000 followers, listeners on Pandora. But the question, and you kind of talked about it earlier with, I know, premium and kind of the curated playlists. We're kind of at that point where it seems like we're really only reaching out to the listeners that we already have and not necessarily new ones. So what are any best practices or processes that we can go through to be selected for those curated playlists? Any of the benchmarks of the people that you talked about earlier with the hands-on process, like how will we meet those to be able to be added to those curated playlists as opposed to just like his channel or his station?
Right, yeah. So on Pandora, the format with the most impact is not playlists. It's currently actually stations, and especially the big genre stations. And one of the best ways to get noticed by the people who program those teams is to do these featured tracks. If you have new music that you're releasing, feature your tracks, because if a song is bubbling up organically through a featured track, it catches the attention of our curators. They look at the results of those featured tracks. They get a digest every week. They look at those results. They see that an artist is bubbling up, and that may prompt them to program that music on genre stations that are then also mirrored on playlists. But at the moment, what you really want to get onto is good genre stations. So our curators use that as a signal. Also, if you're doing featured tracks and you're seeing really great results, reach out to our team. Let us know that you're killing it with featured tracks, and we can see if we can reach out to the programming team, tell them, this artist is hustling for themselves. We want to see if there's anything that we can do to help them, and reach out that way. But using these self-serve tools is the best thing that you can do yourself to get the ball rolling and be communicative.
Okay. And that's the email that you gave on the slide. Is that what you would reach out to?
amp-support@pandora.com, yeah.
Thank you.
No problem.
Hi, Heather.
Hi.
Thank you so much. My name is Matthew Mayer. I want to give a plug to your featured track. I did a first featured track and definitely saw an increase with that. It's a great tool, and again, like you said, it's all
Listen
free.
to him.
So thank you. Yes, I didn't get paid for that. I did not get paid for that. But my question is, I have a new album releasing this coming Friday, and I've gone through CD Pro like all my other albums. When it's two-part, when will I know that if it's accepted, on the Pandora platform? And number two, what would be your recommended first steps after that release for the first maybe week to the first month? I've heard, you might want for it to stream a little bit and then you feature it. Besides wanting everyone to add a Matthew Mayer Pandora station, hint, hint, what else should we do?
Okay, so for the first part of your question, I am unsure if in the CD Baby product it tells you. So let's put a pin in that one and answer it later because I'm not 100% sure for the CD Baby Pro. For what you should do once it goes live, basically everything that I just said, but do it in a strategic way that makes sense for you. So I always recommend starting with some artist audio messages. And I forgot to say this, Alan, I looked at you and I remembered, artist audio messaging is huge. We just crossed 2 billion impressions. So there's a lot of people listening to these messages. But anyway, artist audio messaging right from the get-go is a really great way to just spread the word. Make an artist audio message, share it on social, do a few of them on platform, giving some background on your album, encouraging people to listen to your music, like just really get that going with artist audio messages. With featured tracks, that's what you want to wait a little bit so that it starts to get some organic momentum. Because as I mentioned, featured tracks placement is based on how much we already know about the song. And so we need to learn something about the song before we can really effectively promote it. So if you release your album tomorrow, I would maybe wait, depending on how much traction it's getting, maybe 3 or 4 weeks, and then start doing your featured tracks, just so that it gets a little bit going. And then set up a comprehensive campaign so that you have a featured track with an artist audio message running for 8 weeks, followed by another featured track and artist audio message running for 8 weeks. You got to keep the momentum going. Because with something like featured tracks where each installment teaches us something about you as an artist. You do a featured track, we're finding new fans, we're finding new places to play your music. When you do this next featured track, we learned that, and now we have more information, so your next featured track is hypothetically going to be better, and then you continue to build that way because we're gathering more information about you. So putting together a nice, long-term, comprehensive campaign for your album, and then if you're going to be touring to support the album, definitely make sure that you're using your artist audio messages for tour. Keep in mind that we have the automated tools, so make sure that if your shows aren't at Ticketfly venues, they are in Songkick so that we're promoting as much as possible. Just trying to cover all of your bases and make the most of these tools that we have available to you because they're all free, they are all completely out in the open for you to just go and snatch, and so do it.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Hi, Heather. Thanks for the presentation. It was great. I've been an independent artist. I'm a saxophonist, and when I started submitting my albums to the independent artist form, it takes like 3 months, so I had to do one at a time. I got about 6 approved out of my 12 albums that I had at the time. They stayed on there for 2 years, but I signed up with Sound Exchange so I could collect those royalties. And Sound Exchange never reported anything to me until about maybe 6 to 8 months ago, and they only reported one song. When I reached out to them what was going on, they said reach to Pandora, and then Pandora said reach to Sound Exchange, so there was really nothing there. Now that I'm with TuneCore, and now they're collecting the royalties off of that, but I just want to know what happened to those 2-3 years of royalties that, I have about 8,000 monthly listeners, so there should be something there.
Yeah, no, I'm sure that there is, and this is actually a problem that we ran into about 2 or 3 years ago, where the system, and I'm not a royalties expert, so I'm going to give you my best answer here, but the system that we were using switched over from one methodology to another, and if there were metadata gaps, it was like a gap. So the money is somewhere waiting for you. It just needs to be located. So reach out to our team. We will put you in touch with the right royalties person. We can sort of track it from there.
So that's the AMP team, right? Because the Pandora team that I normally write the support, they just throw me somewhere else. Okay.
You can write to AMP support, and you can even put my name on it, and then I'll be just say Heather in the email.
Perfect.
I'll see it.
Be great.
And we can kind of look at your specific case because it exists somewhere. We just have to find it.
Sounds good. Thank you so much.
No problem.
Guys, give Heather another round of applause. That was pretty awesome.
Thank you.
So I have a ton of questions, and I'm not going to ask them. But is there any way that we can get your PowerPoint presentation?
Yeah. Yes, there is.
Okay.
We can put it somewhere. I'll put it on the playbook.
The playbook?
Yeah, I'll put it on the playbook. You can get it from there. And
Okay.
if you want to ask me all of your questions in 4 minutes, I can stand right there and you can ask me.
I'll see what I can do.
Okay.
Hi. My question is about the artist messages and featured tracks. I think what I gather from you is there's a time limit on that. Am I right?
Yeah, so with featured tracks, it's 8 weeks by default. You can make it shorter if
No,
you
no,
want
no.
to.
That's not what I mean. I mean, like,
Oh,
I'm
how long you
specifically
talk.
asking about. So I released a Christmas song last year.
Yes.
And because it took so long for Pandora to put it up, it didn't come out until like a day or two before Christmas. And I'm doing, for the second year, I'm also doing an art contest to coincide with this song that I have.
Yeah.
So I would like to put an artist message that talks about the song, the art contest.
Yeah.
And I would also like to feature the track. And I'm wondering if it's too late.
No,
to do that.
you still can.
Okay.
So artist audio messages you can do at any time. It doesn't matter, just whenever. And with featured tracks, you have a year from the day it went live on Pandora. So if it went live on December 23rd, you have until December 23rd this year to feature the track. And since it's a Christmas song, I would recommend doing it at the beginning of November, which will give you like a nice whole season to do that. So yeah, no problem.
Thank you, Heather. I've got a simple question. On the tour date promotion aspect, you were talking about how it auto fills for those 2 venues. What about venues that don't use Ticketfly or our song Kick? Can you manually put it in?
Yes. Oh, of course. Yeah. And if the information isn't auto-generated, you can just put it together like a normal artist audio message, no problem.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Hi, Heather. I'm Ely with Life Column Records. I want to verify and clarify and kind of beat a dead horse here because you talked about it. The best way is to use a distributor to deliver to you.
Correct.
For argument's sake, let's say that delivery method is not CD Baby, but some other distributor that lists Pandora. I've never received a rejection. Is that something I should be looking to? I've never received a rejection, but when I go search for my music on Pandora, I'm not there.
So that might be a case that because of the volume that we get, sometimes things will get stuck in the pipeline. And that might be a case where it's accepted, it just hasn't gone through that analysis step yet. And if that's the case, if you're searching for your music and you can't find it, another great opportunity to reach out to the team. We can look into it, and if it's in our system, we can prioritize it for musical analysis, and then it'll be live within about 3 weeks.
All right. I'll give it a shot. Thank you.
Awesome, no problem. You've been waiting, so yeah, go ahead.
Hey, Heather. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, thanks.
Hey, listen, I have a short question. I just want to know, does it make a difference? Are there any advantages to releasing like a single as opposed to releasing a CD, a collection of music? Like with the releases and all that stuff, is there any advantage or disadvantage?
I mean, on Pandora specifically, no, not really. If you are releasing a single, obviously you're putting all of your promotions into that single track. If you are releasing an album or an EP, a collection of music, then you should just build a more long-term promotional plan to make sure that you're highlighting each of the tracks that you want to be highlighting at the appropriate moment. I mean, the strategy mirrors how you would do a release really on any other platform or even the physical world. If you're releasing an album of tracks, that's great. Now you have a year's worth of material to promote, rather than just the one single at the time. So it's whatever works best for your musical style and for your promotional capabilities, but no preference for us.
All right, thank you.
No problem.
First, I want to say, James Austin, I'm glad to see that you're an actual person because I've actually emailed back and forth with you about my artist, Alani Sky,
I'm
in
real.
a release. How you
Hey.
doing? I was able to find her on demand, create a station for the new release. But I haven't heard the new release on the station I was created with that particular song.
Is this a brand new release, and is this a brand new artist?
Not a new artist.
Okay.
All of her music is on Pandora. We're able to submit as an independent label directly to Pandora and via Pro. The last one was delivered via Pro.
Mhm.
But like I said, I see the album
song is
artwork.
live.
The song isn't live. It's in
Right.
demand. I was able to listen to it. I can buy it off of there.
Right.
The station's live with the particular song and artwork. I just haven't heard the song yet.
Yeah, there's part of Pandora's The Music Genome being as intelligent as it is that if you've liked songs previously, it will favor the songs that you've liked. And if the artist has a deep catalog and there's a history of those songs being liked by listeners like you, it may tend to favor the songs that you've already liked.
Okay.
That is something that we are working to address. But did you say that you started the station based on the song or based on the
Based
artist?
on the song.
Based on the song.
I have an artist station, but I...
Email me again, and we'll just also double check that the analysis is complete, because it's
Okay.
also possible that the song is fully live on demand, but if the analysis portion hasn't been complete, it's not being pushed on radio the way that it would be if it had
you'd
been.
be able to create a radio station even though it's not on the radio yet.
Potentially. We would have to see where it is in the process, but
Okay.
Shoot me another email. We'll figure it out.
Will do. Thank you.
Awesome.
Heather, if we've uploaded our tracks to CD Baby and we've had a release date that we'd like to put in there, and when you look under distribution, it says that it's been delivered to the partners. But when it comes to when we actually get on Pandora, do you adhere to our release date, or is like for the on-demand, would you do that, but then radio would be different? And if it is there any notification process we can sign up for?
So, to answer that question in the way that makes most sense, what you said a second ago, where on-demand and radio might go live at different times, that is the case. If we have enough lead time, and because of our analysis process, Pandora does need more lead time than other services for radio, if we have adequate lead time, everything will go live on your release date. If we don't, it can go live on premium, on demand, on your release date, and then the radio go live date will follow based on the time that it takes for analysis. The more time, the better. A couple of months is ideal. If that isn't possible and you do go later, after the release already goes live on release date, or shortly before, not too far before because we won't have that visibility, but a week or two before release date, you can reach out to the team. We can check on the release and how far it is in the pipeline and give you a rough estimate of go live date and or prioritize it to get it out the door.
Okay, so if we contact you, we can get that information.
Ideally. Sometimes we're not able to give you a perfect estimation if it isn't far enough in the pipeline yet.
Yeah.
We can't give you an adequate estimate, but if it's within the last step or so, we can tell you like, oh, we're 2 weeks out, we're 4 weeks out. We can give you like a rough estimate. It's case by case again, but we'll do our best to give you.
Well, it's just that with the audio messages, it's kind of hard to say this is my new single if it's actually been out for a while. So
right, of course, yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah. Anybody else? Oh, my time exactly is at 0 now. So these people are telling me to leave. So thank you very much. Alan and I can hang out if you have any other questions. Thank you.